Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is September 25th. We have one more week left of baseball, still with 6 unclaimed spots in the postseason. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today? It is Monday. Weekend is over. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I've unfortunately come down with a little bit of the sniffles, so if I sound a little off today, that is why. We got one more week left of baseball. Teams have 5, 6, or 7 games to go. And by next episode on Friday, all teams will have 3 games, one last series to go. We are down to the wire, and there are still 6 unclaimed postseason spots for the taking. Although I think by on Friday, that will go down to maybe 3 spots still on the table there. But yeah, we're going to dive into our series recap and start talking about some of the baseball from this weekend. So let's get it started with our series recap. Here we go. Tigers and A's. The Tigers score 7 unanswered runs, and Tarek Skubal shoves. The Tigers take the opener of 4, beating Oakland 7-3. Brent Rooker hits his 29th of the year, and Shea Langelaris hits his 21st of the year, as the A's bounce back and beat Detroit, winning it 8-2. Esteury Ruiz hits a 2-run home run. The A's will end up taking care of Detroit again, beating them 4-1. And the only run in this one came on a Spencer Torkelson 2-run single. The Tigers end up splitting the 4-game set with Oakland 2 each as they take the last game 2-0. White Sox and Red Sox. The difference in this game came in the 8th inning after a Duvall sac fly and a Masataka Yoshida base hit. That got the Red Sox the winning run as they beat the White Sox in the first game 3-2. Quite the pitcher's duel between Nick Pivetta and Dylan Cease in the second game. We would be scoreless entering the 9th inning, where Luis Robert Jr. hit his 38th homer of the year down the short side in right field at Fenway there. The White Sox would hold the Red Sox and win it to even up this series 1-0. Final game, the Red Sox hit 2 solo home runs, but the White Sox scored 2 runs in the 5th and 1 in the 6th to have the lead. And after the rain took over, and it did not stop, so the White Sox would get the win in 6 innings as the last 3 were not played. The White Sox take 2 of 3 and beat Boston 3-2. Mets and Phillies, a 4-game set between these two, and this first game, the star was Nick Castellanos, who drove in 4 of the 5 Phillies runs, including a solo shot for his 28th of the year, which was the difference in this one, as the Phillies win it 5-4. JT Realmuto hit a 3-run home run to get the Phillies the lead, but the Mets were not done as Lindor and Beatty hit solo shots in the 8th and 9th innings to tie the game up and send it to extras. But after not being able to score in the 10th inning, the Phillies and Alec Bohm were able to walk it off with a base hit to right field as the Phillies get the walk-off win and win it 5-4. Bryce Harper and Alec Bohm both hit home runs in this one, while Zach Wheeler does his best to hold down the Mets as the Phillies get another win 7-5. For that final game, Christopher Sanchez strikes out 10 Mets in 7 innings as Nicholas Castellanos hits a 2-run home run to help the Phillies get the win once more as they get the 4-game sweep over the Mets and inch closer to securing their spot in the postseason 5-2. Angels and Twins. Alex Kirilloff hits his 10th homer of the year as a 4-run 7th inning helps the Twins get the win, and they are the AL Central Division champions as they beat the Angels 8-6. Only run in this game was on a Joe Adele home run for his 3rd of the year. The Angels even up the series with the win 1-0. In the last game, it's Jorge Polanco, Max Kepler, and Ryan Jeffers all going deep for the Twins, as they could still catch the 2nd seed in the postseason, and they do want to win these games as they get the series win versus the Halos, taking 2 of 3 and winning this game 9-3. The Braves and the Nationals will play 4, and it's Max Fried who took care of business with 6 innings of work and 7 Ks. Matt Olson and Ozzie Albies homer late to put the game out of reach. The Braves beat the Nats in the first to 4, 10-3. Ronald Acuna Jr. hits a leadoff home run, and he is now part of the 40-40 club. Austin Riley and Marcell Ozuna join him in the game with home runs. The Braves win another one, 9-6. Rain on Saturday means doubleheader Sunday, and thanks to a Jacob Young double, the Nationals were able to win this one as that double drives in the would-be winning run. The Nationals beat the Braves 3-2. And that final game is Kevin Pillar and Forrest Wall, both hitting home runs en route to the Braves' 100th win of the season, as they become the first team to reach the 100-win mark this season. They take 3 of 4 from the Nationals and beat them 8-5. Cardinals and Padres now. Manny Machado hits 2 home runs in this first game, and the Padres would win it to extend their win streak to 8 as they get the opener of the series 4-2. Down a run in the 9th inning, the Padres' magic looked to be fleeing, but Xander Bogaerts saves the day and drives in a run to tie the game up and send it to extras, something the Padres are 0-11 in this year. After both teams missed opportunities to score in the 10th inning, the Cardinals took the lead in the 11th and scored 3 runs and then held the Padres as their win streak ends at 8. Their extra inning record goes to 0-12 and puts an end to any hope the Padres might have had for a late run. Cardinals win it 5-2. But in this final game, the Padres score in 6 straight innings to open the game, including a Juan Soto 3-run home run and a Jose Azocar solo shot. The Padres run away with this last game and take 2 of 3 from the Cardinals. They win it 12-2. Rockies and Cubs now. Seiya Suzuki and Jared Young both homer in this one, as the Cubs pitchers blank the Rockies, winning the first game of the set 6-0 Cubbies. Cubs down 2. They score runs in 4 straight innings, including a Christopher Morel home run, his 25th of the year. That's the difference in this one. The Cubs beat the Rockies again 6-3. And last game, the difference in this one came in the 6th inning. With the Cubs down 2, Yan Gomes hit a sac fly to make it a 1-run game. And then Patrick Wisdom hits his 22nd homer of the year, a 2-run shot to give the Cubs the lead, and not another run was scored in this game. The Rockies come to town. The Cubs know exactly what they had to do and do it by taking all 3 games and sweeping the Rockies as they win it 4-3. D-backs and Yankees. Oh, Aaron Judge. Court is in session. For the second time this year, the Yankees' big slugger hits 3 home runs in the game, bringing his total to 35 on the year. The Yankees win this one 7-1. Rain on Saturday has moved that game to today on Monday, so we only have one more to talk about here. And it was a Zach Gallen masterclass. The D-backs score 5 runs late in this one to ensure this win. They take this game and even up this series 7-1, with the 3rd and final game being played later today. Giants and Dodgers for 4 now. JD Martinez helped the Dodgers get the early lead with his 30th homer of the year. But after the Giants were able to tie it up, the Dodgers went on and scored 5 unanswered runs across 3 innings, which being the difference in this game. The Dodgers take the first of 4, beating San Fran 7-2. 3 giant home runs from Mike Yastrzemski, Thairo Estrada, and Tyler Fitzgerald, which was his first career home run in the majors, helps the Giants get the bounce back win they're looking for. They even up the series versus the Dodgers 5-1. JD Martinez, he homers again, and he doubles in a run as well. That's a total of 3 RBIs for Martinez. The story of this game, though, was with Kershaw, who passed Drysdale for the 2nd in career wins in Dodgers franchise history. So congratulations to Kershaw. He and 3 other Dodgers pitchers blank the Giants, and the Dodgers win it 7-0. And the last game, it's two-run home runs from James Outman and Lamont Wade Jr. That has us tied in this one, heading to extras, and it ends up being Chris Taylor who walks it off for the Dodgers with a single to right field. The Dodgers take 3 of 4 from the Giants and put them in a real tough position to have any hope for postseason this year. Dodgers win it 3-2. Pirates and Reds now. Ke'Bryan Hayes, Henry Davis, Jared Triolo, and Endy Rodriguez all go deep for the Pirates, who take the opener, winning it 7-5. And Cincinnati look away. 3 red home runs from Christian Encarnacion Strand, Tyler Stevenson, and an inside the park home run from TJ Friedl have the Reds up 9 runs after 3 innings. The Pirates went on to score 13 unanswered runs, including a 3-run home run from Brian Reynolds. The Reds would try to get this game back, but fall short. The Pirates make history with the largest comeback in their franchise's history as they beat the Reds 13-12. TJ Friedl and Christian Encarnacion Strand both go deep as the Reds get an important bounce back to stay in this, but the main thing about this game was Joey Votto, who might have played his final home game as a Red. He got a couple of standing ovations and curtain calls throughout the game, and after he hit a single in what could be his final home at bat as a Red, he received another curtain call. The Reds avoid the sweep, and they get this game versus the Pirates, beating them 4-2. Brewers and Marlins now. And imagine being a Miami dad and taking your kid to watch a Marlins game, but you end up being a little late and get there at the start of the 3rd inning. I bet you would be shocked to see them losing by 12. That's right, the Brewers scored 12 runs in the 2nd inning alone, including 2 home runs from Josh Johnson and Christian Yelich. Yelich would hit another homer later in this game, as Ray Tellez was on the mound to end this one for the Brewers and picked up a strikeout along the way, as the Brewers clinched their ticket into the postseason, but would still need one more win to get the division. The Brewers win it 16-1. Game 2, it's Jake Berger hitting a 3-run shot in the 1st to get the Marlins going. Carlos Santana hit a 3-run home run in the 6th to tie it back up. A wild pitch from Joel Payampas allowed Miami to take the lead, and they would hold it as the Marlins even up the series with the win, beating the Brewers 5-4. And in the last game, the rubber match, John Birdie hits 2 home runs in this game for his 5th and 6th on the year, as well as Josh Bell, who hit his 22nd on the year. The Marlins win the last game and take 2 of 3 from the Brewers to help their postseason chances 6-1. The Royals and Astros now. The Royals jump out to a 4-run lead in the 1st inning and would ride that out for the game as they led for the whole game. The Royals take the opener against the Astros, beating them 7-5. The Royals jump out to a 3-run lead in the 2nd game, but Houston can only score 2 back on a Chas McCormick home run and a Kyle Tucker double. The Royals once again beat the Astros 3-2. And in that last game, Nelson Velasquez, Matt Duffy, Salvador Perez, and then Nelson Velasquez again, 4 Royal home runs, helped them edge out one more game versus the Astros as they sweep them to help out the Rangers and Mariners. Royals win it 6-5. Oilers and Guardians now. A 3-run 8th inning helps the Guardians get the lead as they expand on it and would end up beating the O's in this first game of 4 in the set. They win it 5-2. This game was back and forth with 8 different lead changes. We jumped to the 9th, the Oilers down a run, and thanks to a 2-run double from Aaron Hicks gave them the lead late. But the Guardians were going to fight, and a 2-run double from David Fry walks it off for the Guardians, who get this win as they beat the Oilers in walk-off fashion 9-8. Anthony Santander drives in both of Baltimore's runs in this one as John Means gives a near 7 innings of no-hit baseball, and he was wonderful on the mound for the O's as they get the win. They win it 2-1. In the last game, a 3-run 2nd inning helps lift Baltimore to an early lead as pitching held the Guardians. The Oilers take 3 of 4 from Cleveland and win this last game 5-1. Blue Jays and Rays now. What a series this was. The Blue Jays scored 4 runs in the 6th inning, and later on it's Dalton Varsho who hits his 18th home run of the year. The Blue Jays get the opener of this important series for them as they beat Tampa 6-2. For Game 2, it was all Tampa early in this game with home runs from Yandy Diaz, Josh Lau, and Christian Bethancourt. The kid they called up, Junior Caminero, he gets his first MLB hit, but then the Blue Jays came back. They scored 4 runs in the 6th inning again and added 2 more in the 8th to get them the lead, but in the 9th, Tampa was able to tie the game back up, and then it was Josh Lau who walked it off for the Rays as they avoid the Blue Jays comeback and hold on to win it, evening up the series 7-6. Rubber match, and it's George Springer, a 3-run inside the park home run Springer dinger that got Toronto off and running. Bo Bichette, home run number 20 on the year, and not 1 but 2 home runs from Vladdy Jr. as the Blue Jays 1-2-3 hitters combined for 4 home runs in the game. The Blue Jays take 2 of 3 from the Rays and beat them 9-5. Mariners and Rangers, the start of 7 these two teams have left to play, and it starts with Corey Seager going deep, and it continued with Evan Carter hitting a 3-run home run, and all of a sudden it was 8-0 Texas. The big dumper Kyle Raleigh hit a 3-run home run for his 30th of the year to get the Mariners on the board, but Texas had done too much damage earlier in this game and would end up taking the first game 8-5. Jordan Montgomery was great again for Texas as they would get 2 runs on a single from Jonah Heim and Mitch Garver as they take the second game as well, winning it 2-0. And for this last game, what a game it was. Marcus Semien gets it started with a home run. Teoscar Hernandez ties it with a home run of his own. And then J.P. Crawford hits one out for the first Mariners lead in this series, which didn't last long as Corey Seager and Adolis Garcia hit home runs to get the lead back for the Rangers. Leody Taveras and Marcus Semien again now for 5 Ranger home runs. But Seattle is fighting. They score 3 runs to get closer to the lead before Evan Carter again hits his second home run of the series and the 6th Rangers home run of the game. Seattle falls short against the Rangers bullpen, and the Texas Rangers sweep the Mariners and beat them in the last game 9-8. Alright, I'll make this one quick here. The game of the weekend, and boy, Reds, what happened? And Christian Encarnacion Strand, his 10th of the year, 2-0 Cincinnati. Tyler Stevenson, a solo shot, his 12th on the year. And then TJ Friedel, an inside the park home run for his 16th of the year. That's 4-0 Reds. Then Nick Senzel, he gets in a run. Christian Encarnacion Strand, he singles in a run. Tyler Stevenson, he doubles in 2, and then Spencer Steer doubles in another. It is 9-0 Reds after 3 innings. The Pirates get a run on Alfonso Rivera's single in the 4th. And then in the 6th, this is where things start going downhill. Jai-Hwan Bae, he singles in a run. Joshua Palacio singles in a run. And then Brian Reynolds, the 3-run home run, his 23rd of the year. That's 9-6 for Cincinnati now. Top of the 7th, Alfonso Rivera, he doubles in 3 runs. That ties the game up. And then at the top of the 8th, Jack Sawinski, he singles in a run to get the Pirates the lead. Alfonso Rivera singles in another run. Jai-Hwan Bae doubles in the last 2. It is now 13-9 Pittsburgh. Bottom of the 8th, the Reds were able to score 2 runs on a Nick Martini groundout and a Christian Encarnacion Strand single to make it 13-11. And then in the bottom of the 9th, Jake Fraley, he grounds out, letting another run come in, but that's the only run they could get. Pirates win it 13-12, largest comeback in franchise history. Wow. All right, let's talk about this Rangers-Mariners series a little bit, and what a series for Rangers. Evan Carter, I talked about this guy's an X-Factor. 2 home runs in the series, and they were big home runs too. Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, the Rangers stars, both hitting 2 home runs in the series. Adolis Garcia was an X-Factor. He had a home run in that last game. Cal Raleigh, he had a home run in that first game. It just, unfortunately, Texas had too big of a lead at that time. Nothing from Julio really. A very quiet series from Rodriguez. Um, yeah, big shout out to Jordan Montgomery. His last three starts, all 7 innings, all without an unearned run. He's been fantastic, for Texas. Monty has been really dealing it up, the left-handed for the Rangers, so good for him. The Mariners only had one lead in this series, and that was in the last game after J.P. Crawford homered, but it didn't last long as Corey Seager and Adolis Garcia homered to get the lead back for the Rangers. They were outscored 19-13 in the series, and they lost all 3 games, and they kind of got put in a hole here now. They're 3 games back on the Rangers for first place in that division. The Astros, who lost 3 to the Royals, got swept. They're 2.5 back of the Rangers. The Rangers are feeling good in first place in the West. So now the Mariners have to kind of shift their focus, at least for now, to the wild card and try to beat Houston here. The Mariners control their destiny, and it was a tough first series of their destiny here. They have 4 more against the Rangers at the end of the week here, but they have a 3-game set with the Astros starting today. And if you're Seattle, you need to get at least 2, if not the sweep. But if you're Houston, the same way. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Let's talk about the Rays' injury bug a little bit here, because in the last 10 days, we've had some bad news from Tampa. Brandon Lau, he's done for the year. Luke Raley, Jose Siri, they both fell on the 10-day IL. John Adams, he's on the 15-day IL. And then Randy Arozarena, after leaving the game on Friday against the Blue Jays, did not play Saturday or Sunday. There's no move on him yet. He's still listed as day-to-day. But yeah, you add those 3 or 4 injuries there on top of Spriggs, Rasmussen, McClanahan, Baz, Garrett Clevenger. It's just been a rough year really for Tampa Bay with the injuries. And getting towards the end now, you're losing Brandon Lau, you lost Luke Raley. He's been a big part for you. Jose Siri is a really good center fielder, a really underrated center fielder, a very fast one too. If Randy isn't healthy, if Randy's not going to be Randy for October, the Rays could be in a bit of trouble here, and I think they should be trying to focus on, playing out some of these injuries, trying to get things to work. It looks like Baltimore might end up taking that division now, but we'll talk about that when we get to magic numbers. But yeah, Tampa's injury bug has been a big one and affecting them recently for sure. Really quick now, let's talk about some other injuries affecting some playoff teams here. Royce Lewis with your Twins, he's back on the IL with a left hamstring issue. So we'll see how Minnesota can deal with that. Royce Lewis has been very good for him, for the Twins, in the short amount of time that he's been playing. Max Fried, after his start on Thursday, he went back on the 15-day IL for the Braves with a blister issue. Snicker said he should be good for the division series, so we'll see what happens with him. But for now, Fried is back on the IL. And then Sandy Alcantara, in a report, said that he is done for the year. He's got some forearm tightness. And all that pitching games and those 8-inning, 9-inning games for Sandy's finally caught up to him a little bit. So he's going to be sidelined for the rest of the year, which is a big blow to the Marlins as they're trying to get a postseason berth for themselves. And now without Sandy, that makes it just a little bit harder for the Marlins. But those are just some injuries that are affecting some playoff teams. And now how about a big congratulations to some Central teams. The Twins are your AL Central winners. And the Brewers are clinched a postseason berth. Their magic number for the division is 1. So, a Cubs loss or a Brewers win at any point this week will get the Brewers the NL Central. Congrats to both those teams. They have punched their tickets to the 5th and 6th teams to do so. They both did it on Friday. Obviously, we're still waiting for the Brewers to get the division, but good for them to at least make it to the dance regardless. They can lose out and still be there. And the Brewers is definitely a scary team with all that great pitching. And the Twins, well, we know their kind of postseason drought they've been on. They haven't won a postseason game since I believe it was 2005 or 2006. But they've been in postseason games a lot over the last couple of years. So, just been getting swept out in the first round every single year. So let's see if this year is a little bit different for the Twins and see if they can win a game. But all in all, congrats to those two teams, and we'll see them come October. And with teams clinching, there's teams eliminated, and we have teams who are mathematically done from postseason this year, starting off with the Mets. The Tigers and Guardians are both done as well after the Twins won on Friday and clinched. They were eliminated officially. The Pirates and the Yankees as well. So both New York teams mathematically done. Yankees, Mets, Tigers, Guardians, and Pirates. 5 teams who have been eliminated over this weekend from postseason. So now I want to talk about the NL Wildcard Tiebreaker scenarios for a little bit. The Phillies, they are pretty strong. They're pretty strong. They're a 5-game lead over the wild card. They're most likely going to take the 4th seed and win the 1st seed of the wild card. I don't think any team's going to catch up to them. The Giants have kind of fumbled out of this, as well as the Padres. So we're pretty much down to a 4-team race between the Diamondbacks, Cubs, Marlins, and Reds, fighting for the last 2 spots. And there's a team that has a huge advantage in tiebreakers and a team that does not. And the team that has a huge advantage is Miami. They have 4 tiebreakers. They have the tiebreakers against all the teams. They have it over Arizona. They have it over Chicago. They have it over Cincinnati. They have it over Philadelphia if they were to come up and catch them. And I believe as long as the Giants continue to struggle against the Dodgers, they would have it over San Francisco if San Francisco was in the mix. But Miami definitely kind of owns a tiebreaker. And the team that does not is the Cubs. They don't have it over Arizona. They don't have it over Miami. They don't have it over Cincinnati. They don't have it against the Phillies. And even if the Giants were there and good, the Cubs would have that one tiebreaker over San Francisco. But San Francisco is kind of out of it. So the one that the Cubs do have is essentially useless. The Reds, they have tiebreakers over Arizona and Chicago. And then Arizona, they have tiebreakers over the Cubs and the Giants. So essentially, tiebreaker order would go Miami 1, Reds 2, Arizona 3, Chicago 4th, just because the Phillies are probably cleared and will get a spot, while the Giants have kind of slipped away and are kind of done this year. They're going to have to kind of win the last 7 games here, or last 6 games, to have any hope and chance. Same with the Padres. But yeah, Miami's definitely the sound solid team. They're 1 game out of the Cubs, so which means the Cubs, they're going to have to do it. They're going to have to win out on their own. But they definitely have the hardest schedule towards the end here. They have Atlanta for 3 and then the Brewers for 3. So we'll see what happens there. Now we'll mention some magic numbers really quickly, starting off with the Brewers. For that NL Central, the magic number is 1. A Brewers win or a Cubs loss gets the job done there. The Phillies magic number is 1. If Marlins lose or Phillies win, that would help Philly clinch postseason, and then they would still need a couple to clinch home field in that 4th seed. But to at least make it, it's just 1. The Blue Jays, I believe it's 3 or 2 for their magic number to clinch a postseason berth. They definitely had a nice weekend, winning 2 of 3, while Seattle and Astros both got swept. So Blue Jays are looking good. I believe their magic number is 2, but it could be 3. Baltimore, their magic number is 4 for the division against the Rays. And the Rangers, after sweeping Seattle, their magic number is 5. So yeah, as for the AL East for the Oilers and then the AL West for the Rangers there. But those are some magic numbers. And now we'll take a look at some outstanding performances from the weekend, starting with Tarek Skubal from your Tigers. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 10 Ks. Eduardo Rodriguez from your Tigers. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, no earned runs, 4 walks, 5 Ks. Sean Manaea from your Giants. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 2 Ks. John Means with your Oilers. 7.1 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 Ks. Zach Gallen, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 8 Ks. Nick Pivetta, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 7 Ks. Dylan Cease, 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 11 Ks. And then lastly, Jordan Montgomery, 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. That's your outstanding performances. All right, now we'll quickly take a look at the standings check. Baltimore at 97 and 59, 3 wins away from 100. Tampa Bay 95 and 62, 5 wins away from 100. The Rays are 2.5 back of Baltimore. Baltimore's magic number is 4. Whichever of those teams doesn't win the division, they will host the 5 seed. They have already clinched the home field advantage, either Baltimore or Tampa. Twins have won the Central, the AL West. Texas on a 5-game winning streak. Houston, Seattle, both on 3-game losing streaks. The magic number there is 5 for Texas. 2.5 back is Houston, and then 3 back is Seattle. The NL East, the Braves are 156. The only team with 100 wins so far. They have won the East there. The Brewers at 88 and 68. Their magic number is 1. The Cubs are 6 games back, so it needs to be a perfect week for Chicago and an imperfect week for the Brewers to change anything there. In the NL West, the Dodgers are 96 and 59, 4 games away from 100. They're 8 and 2 in their last 10. They have the division there. Take a look at the wild card. The Blue Jays are 2 games up over the Astros for the 5 seed, and the Astros are only half a game back of Seattle. On the NL side, Arizona is a half a game up over the Cubs. Cubs hold the 3rd seed. Miami a game back. The Reds 2.5 back, so the Reds need to get going. And the Padres and Giants a kind of dud. They're 77 and 79. They're tied. They're both 5 games back. So yeah, that pretty much ends that. That is your standings check. Now I'll look at some upcoming series for this week. The second to last series. It starts with the last game today between the D-backs and Yankees. We'll talk about that Friday. Royals at Tigers. Cardinals at Brewers. A's at Twins. Dodgers at Rockies. Nationals at Oilers. Rays at Red Sox. Pirates at Phillies. Padres at Giants. Reds at Guardians. Marlins at Mets. D-backs at White Sox, Cubs at Braves, Yankees at Blue Jays, Rangers at Angels, and the big one, Astros at Mariners. We will take a look at that one right here quickly here. And I mean, we're essentially talking about the battle for the 3rd wildcard seed, at least for now. Starting off, Houston, we've got a problem here. They have lost 4 straight series to the A's, Royals, O's, and Royals. They had lost 5 of 6 to Kansas City. And, they lost a series to the A's. Those 2 teams are 100 lost teams. They both have already lost 100 games. And you're the Houston Astros. You should not have done that. All 4 of those series, they've lost the first 2 games. With the A's, Royals, and O's series, they were able to win the last game. But this last Royals series, they got swept. And I said that was the last thing that could have happened. I didn't see that happening. And it happened. So Houston, you need to bounce back. You're on the road for the rest of your season here. So let's see what you guys can do. The pitching matchups, we've got the best of the best pitching matchups. First game today, Justin Verlander taking on Luis Castillo. Second game, it's Christian Javier versus George Kirby. And then the third game, it's Framber Valdez versus Bryce Miller. Those are the best pitchers that those two teams have, and it's going to be the best matchups going forth there. We mentioned that they're both on 3 games losing streak. The Mariners just got swept by the Rangers. The Astros just got swept by the Royals. Things are looking bad. Obviously, the Rangers, they're going to take on the Angels this week. So just like how the Royals did stuff to the Astros, these 2 teams are going to hope that the Angels can beat up on the Rangers while they play their 3-game set here. Seattle is half a game back of the Astros for the 3rd wild card seed here. Now let's talk about some X factors to keep in mind. Starting off with Luis Castillo. This guy's had an amazing year. He's pitching this first game, and after losing 3 straight to Texas, Seattle definitely needs to bounce back. They need Luis Castillo to be on his stuff and really just to have a great game. 7 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts. Limit the Astros to hits, and hopefully he's going to be the key that gets them this series opener win. My second and third X factor are some big hitters for the Astros, Alex Bregman and Yordan Alvarez. If you remember the division series from last year, these were guys who played a big part of it. Obviously, Yordan Alvarez hitting the walk-off home run in Game 1 of the series. He's a big, powerful man. Him and Bregman need to be on top of their game and hitting in those runs for the Astros. My fourth X factor is definitely Julio Rodriguez. A very quiet series in Texas. He is coming back home. The Mariners are out of a playoff spot. He needs to get going. He needs to have a big series. I'm talking 3 home runs. I'm talking 9 RBIs. He needs to have a wonderful series here. And that's a big, important step for him and the Mariners that they need to take. And my fifth and final X factor here is Framber Valdez. A pretty good season to this point, but he got roughed up by the Royals in that first game of the series. He needs to have a bounce back. He's pitching Wednesday versus Bryce Miller, and depending on how those first 2 games go, their Astros are going to need him to be on it. He had a no-hitter earlier in this year. Framber needs to deal in that last game there. And obviously the results of these 3 games will not only help out Texas, but possibly even the Blue Jays if they can beat up on the Yankees, who they play this week as well. But yeah, that's kind of the review there for the preview, I should say, for the Astros and Mariners kind of battling it for the third and final playoff spot. If one of these teams sweeps, we're talking about, the team that got swept is pretty much done. Because if the Astros sweep the Mariners are on a 6-game losing streak and are pretty much out of it. If the Mariners sweep the Astros are on a 6-game losing streak and they're pretty much out of it. There's a lot that goes into this, and we have to wonder what's going to happen. But a sweep is the last thing one of these teams need, or at least being swept. Obviously, if you're the team that does the sweeping, you should feel pretty good about yourselves. But if you do not want to get swept, these are 3 big games to keep out for. But yeah, that's the preview there. And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. We have 1 week of baseball left. We've got a big episode Friday and an even bigger episode next week. Next week, I can already tell you, I'm not going to bring up too much of what I want to do that episode, but that's definitely going to go over an hour. It's going to be our longest episode yet next week, kind of going over the last series, previewing the playoffs, previewing, some other stuff. So yeah, it's going to be a big episode on Monday, but we've got 1 more episode this week on Friday, and that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, everybody, so much, and I will see you guys on Friday.